Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtotara Sata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtotara Sata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Maya Ki Jai Yamuna Maya Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Srimati Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So welcome to today's morning's class on the Caitanya caritamrta. Just bear with me, I'm in some discomfort. I injured my foot and it's really painful. So if I stop for a few seconds, just don't call the ambulance, nothing major. So we're continuing to read from the Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila chapter 2. Today's verses will be text 31 up until 36. And I think how we will do it is we can recite the verses responsively, and then 36 we can do word for word, etc. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So, Adi Lila, chapter 2, text 31. Shishu Vatsa Hari Brahma Kari Aparada Aparada Shamaite Magana Prasada Magana Prasada. After Brahma had offended Krishna by stealing his playmates and calves, he begged the Lord's pardon for his offensive act and prayed for the Lord's mercy. Text 32. Tomara nabi padma hoite amara janmodaya Tumi pita mata ami tomara tanaya. I took birth from the lotus that grew from your navel. Thus you are both my father and my mother. Am I not? And I am your son. Sorry. I'll read that again. I took birth from the lotus that grew from your navel. Thus you are both my father and mother, and I am your son. Text 33. Pita mata balakera nalaya aparada Aparada shama more karaha prasada. Parents never take seriously the offenses of their children. I therefore beg your pardon and ask for your benediction. 34. Krishna kahe na Brahma tomara pita Narayana. Ami gopa tumi kaiche amara nandana. Sri Krishna said, O Brahma, your father is Narayan. I am but a cowherd boy. How can you be my son? 35. Brahma balena tumiki na ho hao Narayana. Tumi Narayana shunata hara karana. Brahma replied, Are you not Narayana? You are certainly Narayana. Please listen as I state the proofs. Text 36. Prakata prakata shristya. No. Yata. Say. Jiva rupa. Tahara. Ye. Atma. Tumi. Mula swarupa. Prakata prakata shristya yata jiva rupa. Taharaye atma tumi mula swarupa. Prakrita prakrita shristya yata jiva rupa. Taharaye atma tumi mula swarupa. Prakrita prakrita shristya yata jiva rupa. Taharaye atma tumi mula swarupa. Prakrita prakrita shristya yata jiva rupa. Taharaye atma tumi mula swarupa. Prakrita prakrita shristya yata jiva rupa. Taharaye atma tumi mula swarupa. Mataji's. Prakrita prakrita shristya yata jiva rupa. Taharaye atma tumi mula swarupa. You want to try, Mataji? You? No. Okay. Word for word. Prakrita, material. Aprakrita, and spiritual. Shristya, in the creations. Yata, as many as they are. Jiva Rupa, the living beings. Tahara, of them. Ye, who? Atma, the supersoul. Tumi, you. Mula Swarupa, ultimate source. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. All the living beings within the material and spiritual worlds are ultimately born of you, for you are the supersoul of them all. Purport. The cosmic manifestation is generated by the interaction of the three modes of material nature. The transcendental world has no such material modes, although it is nevertheless full of variegatedness. In that spiritual world, there are also innumerable living entities who are eternally liberated souls engaged in transcendental loving service to Lord Krishna. The conditioned souls who remain within the material cosmic creation are subjected to the threefold miseries and pangs of material nature. They exist in different species of life because they are eternally averse to transcendental loving devotion to the Supreme Lord. Sankarshan is the original source of all living entities because they are all expansions of his marginal potency. Some of them are conditioned by material nature, whereas others are under the protection of the spiritual nature. The material nature is a conditional manifestation of spiritual nature, just as smoke is a conditional stage of fire. Smoke is dependent on fire, but in a blazing fire, there is no place for smoke. Smoke disturbs, but fire serves. The serving spirit of the residents of the transcendental world is displayed in 5 varieties of relationships with the Supreme Lord, who is the central enjoyer. In the material world, everyone is a self-centered enjoyer of mundane happiness and distress. One considers himself the Lord of everything and tries to enjoy the illusory energy, but he is not successful because he is not independent. He is but a minute particle of the energy of Lord Sankarshan. All living beings exist under the supreme control. All living beings exist under the control of the Supreme Lord, who is therefore called Narayana. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Caitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, in these verses, 31 to 36, Lord Brahma is speaking, right? And he says, so Kaviraj Goswami says, after Brahma had offended Krishna by stealing his playmates and calves, he begged the Lord's pardon for his offensive act and prayed for the Lord's mercy. So, he's actually speaking about the Brahma Vimohana Lila, where Lord Brahma, he stole the calves and the cowherd boys, Krishna's cowherd friends, from the pasturing grounds. And so he stole them away because he wanted to, he had a doubt that, this little boy, Krishna, is the Supreme Lord. And he was trying to test whether this boy Krishna, he's the creator of everything. Because how can a little child be the source of all sources, the cause of all causes? And so he stole the cowherd boys away and the calves away. And according to Brahma's time, he was just away for a moment. Like he snatched them, and maybe he turned his head away, because something caught his attention and then he turned back. But in material time, it was 1 year, right? So just for Brahma, a moment of Lord Brahma's, when he looked again, the cowherd boys and the cows were still there, right? And obviously, we're not going to get into the lila now, but Krishna had expanded himself into all these cowherd boys and these calves. Exactly as they looked. Every feature exactly the same. So we understand that Krishna, although mystic yogis in this material world, they can also expand themselves to a certain number. I'm not quite sure exactly what's the total of that number, but it's I don't think it's more than 5. Anyway, they can expand themselves, but if Kishore Prabhu expands himself in maybe another 2 or 3 forms, he's going to look exactly the same like how he looks now. But Krishna, he's, the ultimate mystic, the master of the mystics, Yogeshvara. And when he expands, he can expand into the form of Ravindra Swarup, into the form of Kishore Prabhu, Bilvamangal Prabhu, etc. Exactly the same. This is Krishna. So, after a moment, Brahma returns and he sees that all these cowherd boys and calves are still there. And then he comes to his senses. He has this realization that Krishna is the supreme, the source of all, the source of everything. Right? And then he begins to pray. And then in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's this chapter called the Praise of Lord Brahma. And Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami is speaking about this pastime. So we see that in text 34 and 35, in 34, Krishna says, "Oh Brahma, your father is Narayan. I am but a cowherd boy. How can you be my son?" And then Brahma says, "Are you not Narayan? You are certainly Narayan," because he had this realization now. Please listen as I state the proofs, and then further, there's further verses where Lord Brahma is speaking and stating how this Krishna is the source of Narayan. But Brahma calls Krishna Narayan. Why? He could have said Krishna, but he says, "Are you not Narayan?" Well, he's saying, so Narayan is universally accepted as the Supreme Lord. If you go to India, basically they don't know, Krishna is Supreme Lord. They say Narayan is the Supreme Lord, and that Krishna came from Narayan. So Lord Brahma, he's saying like this, "Are you not Narayan?" And then even Narada Muni, what is he chanting? Narayan, Narayan, right? But he's chanting Narayan with the understanding that Krishna is the source of Narayan. Not that he's saying Narayan is the supreme personality of Godhead. He knows that Narayan is coming from Krishna. And for the sake of the living entities, because they believe Narayan is supreme, so he's chanting Narayan, Narayan. And then he can give information that, oh no, Narayan is coming from Krishna. Right? In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto of the first canto, third chapter, text 28, it says, "Ete chamsa kala pumsa krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam mirdayanti yuge yuge." Of all the above mentioned incarnations, all of the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. But Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on planets whenever there is a disturbance created by atheists. The Lord incarnates to protect the theists. And so Krishna it's stated in Bhagavatam, Krishna is the source of everything. Now, everyone is searching for some shelter in so many places, in so many things. When I say shelter, I mean like some we have so many distresses in this material world, and we're looking for some comfort, some shelter, and we're searching for it in so many things. Like, you can give an example. What are we searching shelter for? One is like money, right? We're searching for shelter in our family. We could give numerous examples. But all these shelters are temporary. In fact, there's no shelter in this material world. The real shelter is Krishna. And everything, this entire creation is Krishna's energy. So this Jivatma, the soul, is residing in Krishna's energies. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text number 4, Krishna is saying, by me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. When he says all beings are in me, he's referring to his energies. And in text 9 of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, chapter 9, text 5, he says, and yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not part of this cosmic manifestation. For myself is the very source of creation. So Krishna is giving us this information already in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is like the standard book, the ABC of spiritual life. So, just like the birds, they have taken shelter of the sky. And the fish, they have taken shelter of the water. They know their place. And they cooperate and they are in unison, You find when there's a flock of birds flying, they all know which direction to fly in unison. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki Jai. So, it's like like telepathy. They all just go in the same direction. Suddenly, they're flying straight and suddenly you see they turn, all at once. And the fish, same story. When there's a shoal of fish swimming, they're moving in unison. Suddenly you'll find they turn left or turn right, and all together, right? So the birds know their place is in the sky, and the fish know their place in the water. So similarly, when the Jiva soul takes shelter of Krishna, then everything becomes transcendentally perfect for that soul. And what happens when the soul forgets the real shelter, forgets the shelter of Krishna? What happens? You lose touch, you fall down. Yeah, you fall into conditional life. Right? And what are the symptoms of that conditional life? Anyone knows? Material life, yeah, it's like, lust, anger, greed, envy, false ego, many symptoms of material symptoms. So, when a child is separated from its parent or parents, what happens to the child? What emotions does a child go through? Feels lost, yeah? No future. begins to cry, right? It's crying out in fear because it's alone, has no shelter. Right? And then when the child is reunited with the parent, what happens? Child stops crying. Stops crying, feels joy, feels sheltered, protected, right? And I was thinking, like, currently there's so much of child trafficking going on. When a child is taken away, is kidnapped or whatever it may be, the parent feels the most pain. We may hear about it and we may sympathize and things, but it's not our child. It's not our child. And we may feel some compassion, but that parent is feeling the most pain. In fact, we can't understand the emotions that parent goes through unless it's happened to us. The parents are in distress. They're always anxious. Is my child coming back? Is my child coming back? Right? And that parent is Krishna. That's how Krishna is feeling for us. Is my child coming back to my home? Right? Krishna is anxious for our return back to the spiritual world. We naturally transfer our affection to objects like phones, laptops, money, pets even. Because we need to love someone who loves us back. Right? But the ultimate is redirecting, that immense capacity for love towards the source of love, who is Krishna. And that Krishna is non-different from Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So this question, where does everything come from, has always been asked, and it probably will continue to be asked in the future, right? And the answer has been given in various forms of science, of philosophy, various forms of religion, right? But the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the Amala Purana, the spotless Purana, right? The topmost. It establishes Krishna as the cause of all causes in the very first verse, right? And that I'm going to read the verse, and we'll read the translation, and then we'll take it from there. So the very first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam states, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadiyasya Yato Nyayat Itaras Charteshu Abhigya Swarat Tene Brahma Hrideya Adhikaya Kavaya Muyanti Yatsuraya Tejovari Murdam Yata Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. Sorry, my Sanskrit is very bad. So the translation is, O my Lord Sri Krishna, son of Vasudev, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because He is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation. Immediately stating, Krishna is the cause of all causes. Sustenance and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and He is independent because there is no other cause beyond Him. It is He only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By Him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of Him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. So this verse is saying basically exactly what the purport of today's verse, text 36, that we've read. And then Brahma, he reaffirms in the Brahma Samhita in 5.1, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna, who has a body of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. He has no beginning, for he is the beginning of everything. He is the cause of all causes. So in so many verses in the Vedic scriptures, this is stated. Krishna is the cause of all causes. Now in the text 36, the main text, this verse, it specifically addresses the relationship between the Supreme Lord and the Jivas, the individual living entity. And it speaks about these two vast realms, the Prakrita and the Aprakrita. So, the Prakrita Shrishti, so this refers to the material creation, the universe that we currently perceive with our blunt senses. And it is governed by the three modes of material nature, the three guna, goodness, passion, and ignorance. And it is a place of duality, heat, cold, happiness, distress, love, hate, like that. And it's a temporary manifestation, and it's full of distressful situations. And then it speaks about the Aprakrita Shrishti. So this refers to the spiritual creation, the Vaikuntha planets, the Goloka and Goloka Vrindavan. And this realm is entirely free from the material modes, as stated in the purport. It is a plane of Shuddha Sattva, the pure mode of goodness. It's as the purport states, it's a place of eternal variegatedness and unalloyed loving devotional service. And this verse, it boldly states that regardless of where a living entity resides, whether they are in the conditioned stage of life, the conditioned soul, that's struggling in the material body, or an eternally liberated soul, the Nitya Siddhas, dancing in the spiritual world. And yes, they dance in the spiritual world. You can see the picture there. They're dancing. So the ultimate source is the exact same. That source is Krishna. And that source is Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who is non-different from Krishna. So the verse also states this, Tahara ye Atma Tumi. You are the super soul of them all. Now, we know this material body, it's dead matter. But it is animated by the soul. Right? Understand that? It's like if you're in a car, a vehicle, unless the man jumps into the vehicle and moves it, it's not going to move. So the body is similar. It's made up of the same dead matter. Unless the individual soul, the Jivatma, enters the body, the dead body, it cannot move. It's not going to move. So the Jivatma enters and then it becomes animated. However, the individual soul cannot function independently. So just as the body, it depends on the soul for life, the individual soul depends entirely on the super soul, the Paramatma, for its existence, for its consciousness, and for its remembrance. Okay? And the Upanishads describe it as like two birds sitting on a tree. And the one bird, the jiva, it's tasting the fruits of this tree. And sometimes the fruits are sweet. And sometimes it's bitter. Actually, most of the time it's bitter. This tree is referring to the material world. So the other bird is the Paramatma. He is simply watching the bird tasting the fruits. And he's waiting for this bird to turn around and look at him. Right? So this verse reminds us that the Supreme Lord, He's the ultimate inner guide. He's the life of our life. He's the soul of the soul, basically. Right? Even if Krishna in that Vishnu form doesn't enter into the material universe, it's practically dead matter. Nothing is going to take place in the material universe. Right? So the super soul is as the verse states, all the living beings within the material and spiritual world are ultimately born of you, for you are the super soul of them all. So the ultimate, so then the verse also speaks about Mula Swarupa. Right? And so we've read so many verses and we've come to this conclusion that the ultimate source of all expansions is Lord Sri Krishna, who has appeared in Kali Yuga as? Who has Krishna appeared in the Kali Yuga as? Yes, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. I'm testing you whether you're sleeping or not. Right? And Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport to this verse that all living entities are manifested through the marginal potency, the Tatastha Shakti of the Lord, specifically expanding from Lord Sankarshan. Because Sankarshan is a plenary expansion of Krishna. And Krishna is the Mula Swarup. Mula Swarup, the root source of this tree of existence. And that Mula Swarup is Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu also. So why I'm emphasizing on this is because this entire chapter is trying to solidify this fact that Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, non-different from Krishna. So think of a blazing fire. When a fire is blazing, it throws out so many sparks, right? And the sparks, they are qualitatively identical with the fire, because they possess the heat, they possess light. But the sparks are quantitatively different, because the spark can never claim that, oh, I am the blazing fire, right? And if a spark, it falls away from the fire and falls onto the ground, it loses its glow. That is the conditioned state of life. And if it stays in the fire, then it retains its brilliance, its brilliant nature, which is the liberated state. So we, as the fallen conditioned souls, now we are like that spark that has fallen onto the ground. Our natural healthy position is to remain connected to the Mula Swarupa. And how to remain connected to the Mula Swarup, who is Krishna, the ultimate source? Bhakti, devotional service. Okay. So only by devotional service can we remain connected and then retain that quality of heat and light of the liberated state. So in this chapter 2 of Adi Lila, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he's establishing the identity of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, not merely as like most people in India, and I've spoken to these people, I've had conversations with them, they believe that Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he's a great saint. So Kaviraj Goswami, he's establishing the identity of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, not merely as his great saint or ecstatic devotee, but as the Mula Swarup, the ultimate fountainhead and source of all existence. Right? And we should redirect our love and attention to him, to Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. In the material world, we often try to find shelter in temporary things, relationships, careers, wealth, status. But those are all secondary. They're passing reflections. So this verse, it points us directly to the original shelter. If you water the root of the tree, ultimately the entire tree, the entire plant is going to become nourished. But if we just pour water on the leaves, the plant is going to die because the root is not getting any water. So Mahaprabhu, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Krishna, is that root. And by serving him through devotional service, by serving him through devotional service, then we re-establish our relationship with him, and we re-establish our relationship with all other living entities. Right? So by recognizing Sri Krishna Chaitanya as the Mula Swarup, the ultimate source and super soul of everyone, as the verse states, and by rendering service to him through the chanting of the holy names, through the Sankirtan movement. This is the basis of this movement. Sankirtan, congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. We automatically nourish ourselves, the soul, and revive our relationship with every other living entity in existence. Now, why is Lord Brahma saying all these things? When we listen further on in the other classes, Kaviraj Goswami will be stating the different the conversation had between Krishna and Brahma, and what Brahma is saying to Krishna. So why is he saying all these things? Because now he has surrendered. Right? First, he wanted to test Krishna. Okay? But when Krishna proved that, hey, I am the real deal here, then Brahma, he fully surrendered. After the test, after Brahma tested Krishna, and Krishna humbled Brahma, then Brahma, he became fully transformed. And when transformation takes place, then we become dependent on the Lord. Or we become dependent on the spiritual master. So only when Krishna humbled Brahma and that transformation took place in the heart of Brahma, did he get Krishna. So this is it. Sometimes we may test the spiritual master. But when that spiritual master passes the test and we don't become humble, then there's a problem. So we have to become humble. The spiritual master passes the test, we become humble. There's a transformation in the heart. And when the transformation in the heart comes, then we have to become dependent on spiritual master, on Krishna. Then we get Krishna. So one lesson from this Brahma Vimohana Lila is that we find that intellectual pride won't get us Krishna. Sometimes we think we're intelligent, we got a PhD, etc., and we want to tell everyone. But that's not going to get us Krishna. Only by taking shelter with humility. We have to become Gopi Bharta Padakamalyo Das Das Anudas. It's a servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. Continued. So that means humility. Okay? Because we don't want to serve in this material world. We want to be served. But when we become humble and then we take shelter and we serve with humility, then we get Krishna. Because this quality, humility, is very important in spiritual life. Only by humility can we get Krishna. Now, in the very last sentence of the purport, Srila Prabhupada, he's saying, all living beings exist under the control of the Supreme Lord, who is therefore called Narayana. Right? So this Krishna is the Supreme Lord, Sri Caitanya, not different from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Narayana also. This Narayan is coming from Krishna, as I've stated so many times and cited so many proofs or truths from the Vedas. So, all living beings exist under the control of the Supreme Lord, who is therefore called Narayana. Now, Narayana means, anybody knows? What is the meaning of Narayana? The Nara means man, basically. And Ayana means shelter or resting place. So Narayana means the resting place, the shelter of all the living entities. And Mahaprabhu, Krishna, who is Narayan is coming from Krishna, is the ultimate resting place of all the living entities. Right? And last night when I was reading this text and the verse and trying to prepare this class, I had this realization that Krishna, Narayan, has expanded himself in this material world as Srila Prabhupada. Our Narayan is Srila Prabhupada because he is the shelter of all of us. In this Krishna Consciousness Movement, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Srila Prabhupada is the founder Acharya. He has given us shelter. He has built a house for the whole world to live in. And when we take shelter of Srila Prabhupada, then, as we stated, take shelter in humility of the spiritual master, then we can get Krishna. Like that. Okay? So I'll stop here. Are there any questions, comments, or... Yes, Ravindra Swarup, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, I was just going back to the line you was mentioning about the soul. When the soul is present in the body moves or something.
Yeah.
There's a verse from Bhagavad Gita, as it is, chapter 7, text 6, that I'm going to speak tomorrow about. I was reading the line. Prabhupada was mentioning the purport is when the soul is present in the body. So you see the nature of the body as it grows and grows and grows. As time goes, it grows and grows. So as long as the soul is present in the body,
yes,
the body grows.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is one important point I like to make and all that. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. As long as the body can only develop if there's a soul in there. Yeah. And when the soul leaves, then body is dead. That is death. Yeah. So, yeah, similarly, Krishna is the super soul. And this entire creation, everything can only develop if Krishna enters into it. And he is the cause of all causes. Like we spoke that verse from the Brahma Samhita. What was it? Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchid Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so we stop here. Thank you very much. Granantaraj Sri Caitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.